everybody to the Husqvarna Motorcycles press conference here at EICMA 2018. My name is Jon Forsell and I will be the host for this press conference. Now, before we start, I don't know about you guys, but just being here makes me remember being a kid. It makes me remember fantasizing about riding a motorbike, going really, really fast, perhaps jumping over obstacles on my way to school, or outrunning bad guys, or good guys, if you prefer to outrun good guys, that's up to you. You know, going really, really fast, pursuing that emotion of being almost weightless, of time standing still. Now, I personally had no one close to me that inspired me. I'm a Swede, so I relied heavily on motorcycle sports news and images, of course, of motocross racing primarily. But for others, it may have been a movie star, or for some of you, perhaps a cool granddad, or somebody else, you know, close to you, really, really cool, that was worthy of your admiration. I'm sure we all have our very own memories that we can recall on how and when that passion and quest for riding a bike started. Now, pioneering since 1903, Husqvarna Motorcycles has lit that fire in so many of us, and I'm sure that they will keep restarting that fire.
Was just a kid, floating, no clue. Till then my world was simple, safe, small. Then it changed. One moment when everything shifted. First time I had the notion of being free, able to just go, head off any direction I choose. Seated in those old stands, fascinated by the speed, the power. I never felt it before. The roaring engines pounding my chest as they raced by. This is where my fire was lit. And now, I feel it every day.
Right, thank you. I'm now joined on stage by Chief Sales Officer Florian Kecht. Welcome. Yeah, that's right. Round of applause.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Husqvarna Motorcycles.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Great. This makes you want to go for a ride, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
So, Svartbilen 701. Please tell us, what's the story behind it?
So, you know, John, the main idea behind the Svartbilen 701 was that our designers wanted to take us back to an era when riding motorcycles as an experience was a lot more raw and a lot more pure. And they wanted to take us on a journey back to the spirit of an any Sunday, when motorcycle racing was a lot more about the simple enjoyment of motorsport like oval track racing or flat track. So we asked ourselves what a motorcycle would encapsulate that represents the real essence of what motorsport used to be back in the heydays. And so the Svartbilen 701 was born.
Okay, so are you ready to take a look at it?
I am, I think we should.
Please, let's see it. Ladies and gentlemen, the Svartbilen 701. This also makes you want to go for a ride. To seeing them so close. All right, so we'll allow for just a few moments more for you guys to take pictures. There will be more time later, but we'll allow for just a few more seconds of that. It is a great looking machine, isn't it?
I love it.
Proud? I'd be. It's fantastic. Okay, so talk us through it, some of the details, please, Florian.
Absolutely. So, as John, you will remember, it was pretty much exactly 1 year ago at the EICMA 2017 when we presented the Sparkpillen 701 concept bike. Obviously today, just a year later, I'm extremely proud and delighted to be standing here and to be presenting to you the Sparkpillen 701 production model. In terms of specifications, if we start with the engine, with the heart of the motorcycle, the Husqvarna 701 is powered by a 75 horsepower producing single-cylinder engine. It produces 72 Nm of torque, which doesn't only make it the most powerful single-cylinder engine on the market, but it's also an extremely modern and fuel-efficient engine with long service intervals and therefore incurs low cost of ownership. If we continue with the suspension, the Husqvarna 701 features WP suspension with a 43mm upside down fork in the front, as well as a fully adjustable WP monoshock in the rear. The Husqvarna comes with Brembo braking systems as standard, with a 4-piston caliber 320mm floating disc in the front, as well as a single-piston caliber 240mm floating disc in the rear. Also worth mentioning is the fact that the Husqvarna comes with a quick shifter, slipper clutch, and of course a ride-by-wire throttle as standard. So, needless to say, it comes with a wide range of Husqvarna accessories, and of course it is also A2 license compatible. All these specifications are framed in this pure and authentic design, which I think provide for an uncompromised street riding experience.
And compared to Vitbilen 701, how the riding style of it, what's the differences?
Well, obviously the Sparkpillen follows a completely different philosophy. As you can tell yourself, it has off-road inspired handlebars. You have a much more upright riding position, giving the motorcycle much more of a racing attitude, when at the same time making it a lot less aggressive than the Vitbilen 701. And I think it really will appeal to anyone who loves the idea of owning something truly unique and special. And I think it will appeal to anyone who wants the Sparkpillen 701 to restart that fire.
Okay, so a concept bike a year ago, and here we see it ready for production. When can we expect to see it in dealers?
So we're looking forward to delivering these wonderful motorcycles to our dealerships worldwide in March 2019.
Okay, so it's pretty soon.
A couple of months.
Great. Now I know that Husqvarna Motorcycles has been eager to expand the street range, yet staying true to that simple and progressive design theme that you've developed. Now what would be the continuation of these two bikes, and what would be the next step for that?
I think let's take
have a look at it.
Absolutely.
It's right here. Do you need my help or?
Yes.
Oops. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Vitbilen 701 Aero concept bike. Again, we'll allow for a few moments of pictures, but there will be more time for that as well later. A lot more, a more sporty look, I guess, than the Sparkpillen.
John, the main idea behind the Aero was that we took the same brief that we took for the Sparkpillen 701 to our designers, but we asked them for something less rough and tough and for something more sporty and performance orientated. And our designers took their inspiration from the general design language behind the 701, Vitbilen and Sparkpillen, and they gave us the Aero. When the naming Aero, of course, refers to the addition of a fairing, giving the motorcycle a much more aerodynamic look. What I think we wanted to achieve with the Aero was to showcase the versatility of the 701 range, as well as we wanted to give a glimpse of Husqvarna Motorcycles' next steps in its return to the street market, because it is the street market where we want to be eventually with Husqvarna Motorcycles.
Okay, but it does remind us of those old school racers in a way, but with a very modern, almost, I'd say, futuristic look, right?
It so does.
Is this more of what we can expect in the future from this kind of street range?
I think as far as the Aero goes, you can tell yourself that the design is somewhere between sporty, modern and classic. And I think the structure of the fairing as well as the design of the windshield, it encourages a much lower and more locked-in riding position, providing for a fully immersive street riding experience. So, to answer your question, John, the whole idea of performance is not new to Husqvarna Motorcycles. In fact, if you look at our off-road machines, Those are class-leading motorcycles which are winning championships all over the world. And if anything, Husqvarna Motorcycles' efforts to keep presenting and keep showing you new additional street motorcycles, performance-oriented street motorcycles in the years to come are going to be reinforced. So you will hear and see a lot more of these motorcycles in the next couple of years.
More performance-oriented, speedier street bikes. Okay. So far, then, we've covered the street range, right? But we've been sort of with the concept bike, taking a step into the future. I know that you guys at Husqvarna has made an effort to start a fire in a younger generation of riders, which is what we'll see the result of right here. Could you please do the honors?
Sure.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is the Husqvarna EE5. It's smaller than the others.
Tiny bit smaller, yes.
Yeah. Tell us about it, the EE5.
You know, John, you talked about future generations. I think when we talk about future generations of motorcycle riders, there is a couple of things to be considered. First of all, the trend of electric mobility is prevalent. And younger generations and future generations of motorcycle riders are growing up with electric-driven vehicles just as much as you and I think many of us have grown up with two-strokes. At the same time, I think every motorcycle company has to see the opportunity in reaching out to future generations of riders. At Husqvarna, we felt we have to keep it simple. And we felt the right place to ignite that spark in young riders is at grassroots levels, from a base that instills a future mindset with the next generation of riders, so that we can ignite that spark.
Okay. Tell us a bit about it, because it's designed, the very idea is based on being friendly for kids, actually, and it has some great features. Please tell us.
So let's start with the naming. You already mentioned it, it's called Husqvarna EE5. When EE refers to electric engine, and 5 refers to the peak power output in kilowatts. So it's powered by a state-of-the-art electric motor. It offers up to 2 hours of riding time with extremely short charging cycles. We're talking about 45 minutes of charging time for a 70% recharge, and only 70 minutes of charging time for a full battery recharge. In terms of suspension, the motorcycle features WP exact 35mm front fork and a fully adjustable WP shock in the rear, offering 185mm of suspension travel, which is the exact same suspension that we're also using for the combustion engine version of the Husqvarna minicycles. Another feature that I think is fantastic for young riders is the fact that it comes with 6 different riding modes. So what this does, it allows you to adjust the throttle response to the rider's capabilities. And also what helps to accommodate all sort of ages on this motorcycle is the fact that you can adjust the seat height to 3 different levels quite easily. It comes with a seat height of 698mm as standard, but you can easily adjust this down to 653 or even further to 556mm in 2 steps. And then of course you have race-proven technology, you have race-proven components, you have this modern-looking Swedish-inspired design. And what I like most about it actually is the fact that it's an electric engine, so it doesn't produce any noise. So even if you decide to use it in your backyard, it doesn't get into trouble with your neighbors.
That's great.
It is.
That's fantastic. So the making it more accessible is one way of lighting that fire in a younger generation. Now, when will I be able to buy this for my kids? Because I have a backyard, and you know.
I'm happy to take your order today, but you will see these motorcycles in our dealerships worldwide just before summer 2019, so half a year to go.
Okay, cool. So far we've talked about the Husqvarna coming from the grassroots of racing, the oval track, and then the speedier version of the Husqvarna 701 Aero concept bike, the uniqueness of the product for the EE5 for kids. These are short to mid-term news. In the long-term run, what do you have planned? What do you have in store?
I think if we talk about the longer term, it's important to mention that electric-driven two-wheelers will play an important role in Husqvarna's future range of products. And at Husqvarna we decided to open up that pioneering story to an entirely new target group. Not completely dissimilar to what a group of Husqvarna engineers did 115 years ago when they decided to put an engine into a bicycle.
Because that's where it all started, right? An engine and a bike.
That's exactly correct.
Okay. We'll look a little bit more at that in just a few seconds. But before that, Florian, thank you so much.
You're welcome, John. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Have a wonderful EICMA 2018 and enjoy Husqvarna motorcycles. Thank you.
Thank you, Florian. Presented on stage shortly will be the new range of Husqvarna bicycle e-bikes. This is the MC8. MC meaning mountain cross. And this is produced by Pexco, which of course brings a great experience and knowledge from the bicycle industry standpoint. And they are, of course, very happy to be part of the Husqvarna family, as Husqvarna is happy that they are doing this together with them. And as you can see, it's a combination of experience from the bicycle industry combined with the design lines from the Husqvarna motorbikes, from the off-road design that they've been experts at for hundreds of years. Perhaps most significantly it is with the unique sort of outlying designed motor case that's on it. If you want to dive deeper into the Husqvarna bicycle e-bikes range, that will be presented in the Pexco stand right behind us later. With that, thank you so much for joining us here at the Husqvarna Motorcycles press conference at EICMA 2018. We hope that Husqvarna Motorcycles has reminded you of the moment you made the choice to become a bike rider, that they have restarted that fire. Please remember to take your press kits and the information booth right behind you. Have a great stay at EICMA. Thank you so much for being here. Ciao.